have talked about how you would love to move to Florida. You're ready to go, at least in your mind you're ready to go, but you see that your husband, your wife, partner, your kids, they're like, no way am I moving to Florida. They don't want to move from their area where they live because they're comfortable. Maybe there's family there. Maybe they're afraid to go to a new area, having to find a new job. Even if you're retired, maybe they're afraid because they just don't know anybody in the area, or they just don't like the heat. There's a million reasons why people don't want to move to Florida, or one person doesn't want to move and the other one absolutely wants to move. So, of course, I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, so this is just my opinion, my 2 cents, and what I have to say doesn't mean anything really, because every family is different. What's going to work for you is different than maybe what would work for our family. First of all, I know this is definitely against many of you and how you see how to raise your kids, but for me, I know that if my kids said, we're not moving because I just don't want to because I have friends in school, you as parents have to decide if that's something that is worth staying behind for, because many people that have friends in school will never see them again once they go off to high school or even off to college or just move out of state. People don't stay in the same area very often anymore. So it's up to you if you're going to stay in the same city or wherever because your kid might have a friend or two at school. I personally feel the parents need to make the decision what's best for the family, because young kids don't really know what's best for the whole family. Of course, your decision to move to Florida can't be just about you. You have to know if that really is the decision that's going to be good for the whole family. And again, only you would know. I think this is a topic that you would have to talk to your partner about. If your partner's definitely against Florida, maybe it's just because of the fear, and I totally understand that. When we were thinking about moving out of Ohio, we really didn't even know if we wanted to move to the Carolinas or Florida. We knew we had to go south where it was warmer, and we wanted to be near the ocean. So we went back and forth thinking, and we watched the Weather Channel together, and we were looking, you know, in January and February and seeing it was still way too cold for us in the winter. So we decided Florida, even though I gotta tell you, Rick was not into the idea of Florida at first because he's not a fan of the heat like I am. But after researching what would be best for him and for me and for the kids, it turns out that Florida was the best option for many reasons. You would really have to just spend time with your partner, showing him why it's best for the family to move. You could look at the Weather Channel together, showing how nice it is year-round. You could show that there's some jobs in their field, because maybe that's what they're afraid of, switching jobs. And your kids too, you could show them that there's great schools, or if they want to be homeschooled, they could do that and show them all the great things that they can do while they're down here. I don't think pushing your family is ever a good idea, because that just kind of scares them away and just makes them put their feet down into the ground and just not want to go. I think if you present information slowly over time, it can kind of sink into their minds a little bit that maybe that's something they would like to do, and maybe not. So I think it's only fair to present this information, like I said, slowly over time, not to bombard them with it. It may take years for you to convince your partner to move, and maybe you never will be able to. Of course, in any great partnership, there's the compromise. Many people that I know have become snowbirds. They come down during the winter for 6 months and they go back up north. Now that's great for people who are retired or people who work online. And then there's other people who just come down for a few weeks every year or twice a year if they can. So that's always an option, is to compromise so everybody's happy. I think that's with anything in a relationship, that you just have to compromise, and it's not just about moving to Florida. It could be about anything from buying a car to buying a house to moving neighborhoods, how to raise your kids. It's all compromise, and it's not easy and it could take time, but I think the art of communication is something that we all need to always improve upon. There's a lot of books on that. I'm sure you can go to the library, Amazon, and just look up art of communication or communicating with family and friends. And there's a way to go about it without pushing the person in the other way. It's like when you try to convince someone of your religion or your politics, calling them an idiot and yelling at them and saying how wrong they are. Do you really think that they're going to come your way? No, it doesn't work that way. If you want someone to start believing in the way you believe, you really need to show them in a kind and loving way. So that's my little tidbit on that. Not all of you are going to be able to convince your partner about moving. As far as kids, you're the parent. In my opinion, you tell them we're moving. That's the way it is. There's no conversation. There's no argument or whining. I don't believe in the whining. It doesn't work. And it seems like the parents sometimes often whine more than the kids. You just say, this is how it is. Maybe even give them a job and finding all the things there is to do. Kids like to be part of what's happening. Sometimes they feel scared and left out and they're not going to know anybody. But if they're doing the research, they can say, hey, you know, there's a skating rink here. There's a baseball team here. The school looks good. Or there's a movie theater I can go to. And you know, then they're okay. If they see you're not scared, they're not going to be too scared, and usually young kids like adventure. So if you just don't make a big deal about it, you tell them this is the way it is, as long as both the mom and dad are in agreement. So you'll have to see what's best for you. I hope that if you really want to move to Florida, that you can find a way to do it and that everybody's happy. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs up, please share, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to live a passionate life.